Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody in there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Welcome back. It's time, once again, for the Comics Coffee Table. 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, where we get together. We take a break. We leave the real world problems like way over there. We pull up a chair to our coffee table. You get a cuppa. Whatever it is, you're shoving under your nose today there, pal. And we talk about comic books. Daily, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Click on those notifications. It'll remind you that it's time to talk about comic books. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Oh, wow, what a good cuppa. And here at the Comics Coffee Table, I am using this season as an excuse for making comic book content. I'm rebagging, reboarding, and reboxing my entire collection. What? Yes, I'm brushing my beard. You should too, if you have a beard. Take good care of it. Thank you, Pika. He insists that I look sharp on the television. You're on television. I'm using these two books this year as the basis for the show. The Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics and the 50-second Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. I'm getting my head around the value of my collection. I'm giving myself a ballpark estimate of what my collection's worth. Along the way, I'm picking up on how to have a better eye on these back issues. Specifically starting with my own collection and my neglecting to do certain things over time. Specifically, boards. Yeah, I should have been using boards the entire time. I regret that. Very few regrets in life. And boarding my comics has to be one of them at this point. Also, I like to let you know that I'm taking this opportunity while I need supplies to do this. I'm getting them all at my local comic book shop, the LCS. We all have one. You should have one. I'm blessed to have several in the Boston metropolitan area here where I live. Filmed, pre-recorded live before a studio audience of stuffed animals from our Boston studios. And so I'm getting all my supplies at the local comic book shop. I'm not using my online supply chain. Where I could be getting a price break and delivery, but no, how's that helping keeping my local comic shops open? It's not. So I'm buying new boxes. I'm getting short boxes this time around. I got bags. I'm looking for my lights, and they'll be in soon. But until then, I'll use what the comic book shop is selling, and acid-free boards. Yeah, and That's the who's who of this show, I guess. And thank you so much for tuning in. It's good to see everyone. If I'm able to make the 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern premiere of the show, I will. I'm backed up on boarding. I'm also cheating. I'm going to maybe not rebag all of these and just go with it. I painted myself into a corner. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing at this show? Well, we're having a daily conversation about comic books. That's what we're doing. Let's see how long I'm able to hold out doing this. I mean, I'm thinking about maybe changing the format of the show, to a weekly. I like Yule Carter's Fantastic Comics weekly show a lot, and he's got a 2-hour weekly show, and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of nice. It'll just get one, and he does a live stream too, so there's interaction involved. But I'm thinking about that. Yeah, about like what's next. What's season 3 going to be like? How long can you keep this noble goal of daily content going? This is not fitting. My board does not fit my bag. Oh no. I bent the corner of the board just a little bit. Now I'm going to do this. I just made that up. Is that like... Does anyone else do that? We fly by the seats of our pantses on this show. We do. John Constantine Hellblazer. Got my stack of them from... What I use on my spinner rack. Before I cover up this beautiful house image here on this funny book, this is an advertisement for a 1987 comic book. So this is the 1987 Shadow Annual. This thing's really interesting. It's so wordy and old school. Seriously, this is like an old school comic book. Joe Orlando did all the pencils in this. This is like old school horror. Look at that 9-panel thing right there. Wow. This is just... These were like the mature comics for mature audiences. Suggested for mature audiences. $2.25. What would that be today? $2.25. Let's say March of 1987. Why not? Is $2.95? I said. You know I'm using this for the $2.25. It's $6 on the nose as of January 2023. So yeah, this is pretty spot on for a modern comic book price. Indeed. But yeah, so let's talk more about Hellblazer. This is when Hellblazer started. Jamie Danilino, John Ridgway. I mean, it's John Constantine. New format monthly series starting in September of 1987. Now, Vertigo as an imprint started in 1993. And that's when Karen Berger took over the that wing of the DC Comics. And that's when Constantine, I want to please my British audience. For any Brits in the house, you know, they're always pleased when look, this Yank is saying Constantine, right? Right. You think that's bad? My Irish brogue is even worse. The Irish hate it when I speak of like my grandfather. Oh boy. Yeah, so Constantine. Yeah, I'm doing a little makeup here. Like I need to start boarding. You know, get these things into boards. They're already in bags. Some of them just, you just throw some boards in there and just throw them into a box, and don't worry about it. I mean, it's got to get done. It's like, that's it, That's all I got, well, to do here with the funnies. But that's the mission. And I've read John Constantine Hellblazer 3 times over. At least issues 1 through 200, 3 times over. And I kind of stopped buying it and stopped reading it after about 226-ish or so. But leading up to 200 was a very interesting time. Who is John Constantine Hellblazer? He's the dark magician of the DC universe. And before Vertigo started in 1993, Hellblazer... This is Hellblazer. This is what I have on my spinner rack. This is the last issue of John Constantine Hellblazer. Peter Milligan. Yeah. And this was $4.99 in April of 2013. I love the last panel of this book. The closure of this long-running series, 300 issues. From 1987 and until 2013. And I read at least 2/3 of this entire run. I come back here and there, check on my old friends. We do that a lot, in comics. What are we doing? Oh, and look. Here, speaking of ads, here's an ad. It's the Dark Knight Returns animated, with voice by Frank Weller, the RoboCop, Buckaroo Banzai. Does a great job as Batman, as the Dark Knight. I liked it. But, oh wow. My board does not fit my bag, so I'm going to do that corner trick again. See if that works. I'm bowing the board a bit. Oh no, I broke the bag. That's what she said. I broke the bag, so yeah, let's get a new bag on that. Oops. It's an extra-sized issue 300 final issue. This guy's made more deals with the devil, more chances to lose and sell and save his soul. He has screwed over so many. He's got literally a trail of ghosts that follow him, that are old friends that he kind of used as gambits on the chessboard of his grand magic life. Visually, he was based upon Sting, the lead singer and bassist of the 80s new wave band, the 70s and 80s new wave band, The Police. Gordon Sumner, Sting, and his look, how he looked then about, Fade Rathwa of Dune and Dream of the Blue Turtles, somewhere around there, and he was allowed to age over time, and just some interior art, some panels. I always love the art selections. It was always so decidedly British as well. It really was. And there was so one of my favorite parts of Constantine Hellblazer was him finally coming to America. Constantine, I believe, premiered in the pages of Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985. And then became a regular in Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. And those wonderful, wonderful Swamp Things. So Constantine Hellblazer is a spin-off, basically, of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing from the 80s on DC Comics there. That huge and wonderful horror story, body horror and cosmic... just the cosmic chakras, and and what is Swamp Thing, and how he fit in the DC universe, and how powerful was he really, and the Alan Moore Swamp Thing speaks. Go get it yourself if you haven't seen it yet. And then so Constantine has a couple of conceits. He 20 silk cut, please. He's Scouse. He's from Liverpool. He's means he has a different accent, that he's got a very distinct accent, and the beige trench coat, the Oxford shirt with the tie. He looks like a detective, but which he kind of is, but he's also the dark magician of the DC universe, a true anti-hero, and what a wild ride, and what good comic books. So, and he's always stayed in Britain too. So, and also Constantine doesn't drive. He doesn't drive a car. He's got his friend Chaz, who's a taxi cab driver, and so he drives him everywhere. And so that's a conceit that follows him around. If I think a good Hellblazer story has to have Chaz driving John around. And John getting someone close to him killed that's not Chaz. And you might remember the Keanu Reeves movie as well, where his Chaz was played by Shia LaBeouf, and that kind of dead friend motif that fits in a Constantine story. Now, they just dragged Constantine out of Britain, made him a Yank, and blah, blah, woof, woof. I kind of like that movie. It was pretty fun. Tilda Swinton was fucking great. I mean, and Gavin from Bush. I mean, dude, there was so many. That was a great example of early the 2000s fun movies, and it was deviated so far from the source material, as we like to say these days. It was a weird adaptation. So Constantine was always written by British writers, and it was a decidedly British in flavor. So when Constantine was brought over to the United States, remember, he doesn't drive. He kind of walks around everywhere. He just gets to places, like the fool, with the knapsack and the dog at his heels. He could be walking off over the cliff, the tarot card. So when Constantine came to the United States, you know what I'm going to say? Damn. To quote Jim Kirk from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Hello. This is Hard Time, written by Brian Azzarello. The artist is Richard Corbin. Those matter. This was written in 2001. These collect Hellblazers 146 through 150, the milestone 150, which would end up being the halfway mark overall in Constantine Hellblazer, seeing it runs 300 issues. I love the last panel. I'm not going to show it to you. You deserve to catch up on Constantine. And there's good intentions. Oh God, this is so hardcore. With art by Marcelo Frusin. Introduced me to Marcelo Frusin, and then culminating in High Water. And this is amazing stuff. Let's see, and this runs 2002 and collects up until issue 174. And Brian Azzarello is an American writer. He came on the scene with Vertigo's 100 Bullets with Eduardo Risso. And so Marcelo Frusin has that kind of Eduardo Risso quality, especially like in the inking. It's just his art is just so amazing. And this is all about John Constantine coming to America. Why is Richard Corbin? Richard Corbin is a horror. Can't show that page. I'll show this one. Constantine comes to America, and something happens right off the bat where he's responsible for the death of the younger brother of a couple of hillbillies, and he was charged with that kid's death and sentenced, and he didn't and he felt responsible for it. That's why he actually didn't use anything of his magic or his trickery. He felt the weight of sheer guilt, and so he went to prison for a murder he didn't commit. And it's a long form story that it develops over like almost 3 years, and it's just John Constantine walking across the United States. And it's just an amazing. And by the time he gets to LA, and then there's like the sex club scene SC, like the clubs and the culture of it, okay, and this is back when stuff like that was risque, and you didn't see a lot of that stuff too much. And there is a genuine Bruce Wayne pastiche named SW Manor, which is a joke in itself. SW, Stately Wayne Manor, as in Batman 66, the Adam West show. Meanwhile, back at Stately Wayne Manor, where you see the Wayne's house and then the Batcave is underneath stately Wayne Manor. So S.W. Manor is someone that fell in love with John Constantine, like back in the late 70s, early 80s, in the new wave days when they were all younger, and Constantine was the lead singer of a punk band called Mucous Membrane. I think they had one hit single, and so Constantine like uses his sexuality as a weapon, and so it's one of the first times we see. It's only mentioned once in a kind of a one line in one issue of Constantine that sets up this whole thing of John Constantine's bisexuality. And this is where High Water is where that comes in. But he doesn't use it out of love or out of lust or ardor. He uses it as a way to seduce his enemy in his big bag. He gives him what he always wanted, himself. And by doing that, he got into who the big bad was, pulling all the strings of all the bad that led from Little Richie's death all the way at the beginning. In Hard Time, who was responsible for Little Richie's death? It was S.W. Manor. And this is John Constantine's revenge. And this is how hard he played it. And so, coming into the New 52, it's like, now Constantine's one of the Pride characters. And this is where it all started. It was all back here in Brian Azzarello in 2001, 2002. And so it's on the table. It's fair game. It's not changing the character. It's not, I don't think it's, queering the character either. He was already there. And, but gosh, yeah, but Richard Corbin, while I'm getting at this is a Warren publication from 1978. September 1978. This is Creepy, issue number 101. Creepy was a horror magazine of the many, and this is a wonderful thing for me because this is the second time I've owned this. I bought this literally 20 years ago at the Outer Limits in Waltham, which is a wonderful comic book store. I haven't been probably since then because it's so out of the way. But I paid $8.75 for this. Then it was a $1.50 cover price way back then. I had this as a kid. I probably shouldn't have been allowed this, but I picked it up at the Neponset Drive-In Flea Market. At the flea market, either that or the Squantum Flea Market. You would see like all these like back issues of comic books everywhere. I mean, just like I picked up so many old comic books there, and this has Richard Corbin art. And Richard Corbin was one of the. This is like the Jaws issue. This is like, this is so well done. I love the ads in this, but this is the second time I've owned this, and that first copy got read to death and destroyed and shredded, and so I got this to replace that copy. But that's Richard Corbin. Richard Corbin's an old school. This is going back on the spinner rack. I got to get a better magazine kind of cover for this, but this is nostalgic for me. Wicked nostalgic. Oh wow, what a good. But yeah, that's Richard Corbin, and for him to do an arc of Constantine, that was just amazing. That was huge. I read these in floppies, all of these in floppies, in a collection long ago. When I came back to comics, and I caught up and I read the entire run of Constantine all the way from the beginning, and all of them in floppies too. It was just an amazing experience just to be a Hellblazer fan. Yes, we've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll figure out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here, and you're welcome. Pull up a chair to the comics coffee table. Take a break with us. Enjoy yourself and enjoy our genre, our niche genre hobby. This is I love comic books. And if you love comic books as much as I do, you're in the right place at the right time. Cheers. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.